loud, so I may move a little bit, but if I start to go down, just say, hey, I can't hear you. My name is CWebb, as Deirdre introduced me, and I am a native Memphian, proud native Memphian. I started at East High School and
You're good. Just put it just a little bit closer for you.
started at East High School and was able to graduate and move on to the University of Mississippi. Do I have any Ole Miss fans in the room? No? No hottie toddy?
No.
Okay, well, I started at University of Mississippi, and I'm going to use that example, starting with the University of Memphis, to kind of talk about today's topic, which is overcoming obstacles. Regardless of what you are experiencing in life, you can guarantee that there will be some type of obstacle. I want to ask one question, and anybody's welcome to answer. I want this to be more of a discussion versus me just talking at you. What is one constant in life? I have several scholars in here. I appreciate it. So change is constant, but I think one thing that we don't really grasp a lot of is that challenges and obstacles are always constant. They will always exist in whatever we do. Think of this morning when you were on your way to work, maybe with your family, getting yourself together in traffic, in this Memphis traffic, maybe getting off of the expressway. Think of one obstacle you've had today. And if you haven't had it today, think of something maybe in the last week, kind of a short-term obstacle. And as you're thinking of that, and I'm sure you can think of plenty, but just think of one, but as you're thinking of that, think about some obstacles you had 2 weeks ago, 10 months ago, 2 years ago, and for those who can go even further, 10 years ago. And I think what's important to keep in mind is that you had an obstacle today, but you also had those other obstacles. They're no longer existent. And a lot of times we forget that we had those past obstacles, that we were able to obtain resources, skills, networking with people. We became more confident. We became more, our strength increased, and we're able to then attack the obstacles that happen today. Today, the things that happen to you become those obstacles that you talk about that were in the past. And I want you to think about that as we go through this session today. Talking about goals, we all have goals in life. I'm sorry?
Oh, you just wants me to get the mic a little closer to you.
Okay.
I think there's
I just want to make that a little louder for you.
Okay, I am a little tall.
Ralph Griffith here, right here, right here, on the speaker itself. Okay, there you go.
Is that a little better?
That's better?
Okay. When we talk about obstacles, I found that everything that I've gone through, me personally, there are 3 key components to get you past them. And that's being intentional. So intentionality is very, very critical when we talk about overcoming obstacles. Being committed to following through, knowing that yes, this obstacle exists, but I've got to get past it, and knowing that you've got to follow through to get over that hump, as well as an attitude. A positive attitude is so key when you're trying to overcome your obstacles. And so I want you to keep those 3 things in mind as we move into the idea of goals. Everyone in here, please raise your hand if you have a goal that you want to achieve. Not necessarily today, but it's on your mind, you've been thinking about it, it's on the horizon. And it could be as simple as the goal this morning was to get up and come here on time, get to work on time, sit in this seat so that your performance will continue to look well to your superiors. Or it could be a long-term goal. You want to get something of a certification maybe in your industry. You want to become the next top employee of the quarter. I understand there are going to be some awards today. Goals can be so various. In our families, we want our kids to do well. We want to be able to support them and provide for them. Our spouses, we want to support for them, our significant others. So goals, you want to make sure that you're prepared and ready to attack them. And we're going to talk about a model today. It's called the SMART model that can help you along the way as you're addressing your goals. But keeping in mind that those goals, there are going to be obstacles that are going to happen. They're not going to not happen. You're on another planet if you think you can create a goal and not have some type of resistance. And that resistance can be self-imposed, meaning that you may create it for yourself, or there may be some things that you have to do or that you may have helped foster some obstacles. And then there are also obstacles that may be external, that come from other individuals, other people, other circumstances. I like to give the example. I started at Ole Miss, as I said, hotty toddy, gosh almighty, nobody knows what I'm talking about. Okay, so I started at Ole Miss in 1999. I came from a family, they said, oh, you got to go to college. Okay, I got to go to college. I got to get a degree because then I'll be successful in life and everything's going to be so great and grand, right? I'm sure we all know that story. Well, I got into a school, but I had no plan. I didn't really formalize how I was going to go about getting the degree. And so I went. I had a lot of fun. I don't know if you recall, but back around the early 2000s, Ole Miss was considered one of the highest partying schools in the nation, and I took part of their statistics. And I really enjoyed myself, and I had to come home with my tail tucked between my legs and regroup and really look at what kept me from achieving that goal that particular time. I had to be honest with myself. I had to say, okay, well, Kristen, you didn't go to class. How about that? I came home with a 1.9 GPA. How do you get a 1.9 GPA? See me after. See me after I tell you. Do absolutely nothing. You know, I didn't have 0.0, so I was doing something. But, you know, you're obviously not putting forth, I wasn't putting forth all the effort. I wasn't giving 100%. I wasn't being intentional. I wasn't following through. And I didn't have the right attitude while I was there. Well, I come home, I have this come to Jesus moment with me. I have to still finish this degree because that's what I said I needed to do. That was my goal. But this time, I looked at everything differently. I became intentional. I knew that I had to follow through, and I had a different attitude. Go to my advisors. What do I need to do? How many hours do I need to take? You know, actually showing up in class, actually studying. And while this is very elementary, because we're talking about almost 15 years ago, and I have had a plethora of obstacles since then, that obstacle is very profound to me because it's the first time that when I talk about the SMART model, and I'm going to get into that, but when I talk about the SMART model, I actually utilize that tool. And I I formulated a plan for myself. So the SMART model, and we're going to get a chance for you all to apply it today. And hopefully, if you're not already using it, you can either, reiterate it to yourself or take it going forward. So in this job that you're currently in your personal lives, you'll be able to use the tool. So what I did, and I identified that I did it in this environment when I made it back to the University of Memphis. I was specific. I came up with a goal that was measurable. It was attainable. It was realistic, and I had to put a time around it. And that's what the SMART model is. S-M-A-R-T. It's just 5 steps that will help you. I say it's a guide for you to utilize while you're setting your goals. Even more importantly, I think when you look at this tool, as I go through each one, this is not a tool that you just use it one time and you put it down when you're addressing your goal. It's to be revisited. How many people do vision boards at the beginning of the year? End of the year, middle of the year, all year round? Those vision boards, they're used as guidance, as a vision. And the SMART model allows you to be a visionary for your life, to be a visionary for the goals that you have set before you. So if you have the handout, you may have a handout in front of you that kind of spells out the SMART model. And we'll start with it. So S stands for specific. You must have a specific goal. I want to lose weight, okay? I want to lose weight. That's a goal, but it's not specific. I want to save money. That's not specific. True enough, I want to save money, but it doesn't give a specific value. How much do I want to save? How long do I think it's going to get me there? Those are the things that you want to make sure that you outline when you're coming up with a specific goal. You want to make sure that it's clear to not only yourself, but if, let's say you're in a team environment, you want your entire team to understand that goal. It has to be clear. And no one should be able to second guess and see that it's a little indecisive. You want to know that it's specific, and that's how you know that you've started on the right foot with your goal. And then you move on to the M. The M means that it has to be measurable. I always like to use the weight thing just because I'm a woman. I like to use the weight example. So measurable. I want to lose weight. This is not true numbers for the record. I'm at 180. I want to get to 160. Immediately, I know that when I get to that 160, I've met my goal. It's measurable. The same thing with a degree. When you get done with a course, you know that you're that much closer to achieving your goals. Certification, be it meeting the goals for the month that I see here on the wall. Being able to say, at this point, on this day, this tool, this result lets me know that I've met my goal and that it has to be measurable. So measuring and knowing that you have met it is very, very important. It has to be attainable. What are the steps? Is this something that can truly be done? I can't go be an astronaut. It's not attainable for me. I can't say that about anybody else in here, but for me, it's not attainable. Is it attainable, or was it attainable for me to say I want to go get my degree? It was. I knew what steps I needed to take. I said I needed to see my advisor. I needed to study hard. I needed to get tutors. I needed to network with other students so that I could get to that next point. And so you want to make sure that your goals are attainable. You can actually access them. You know who you are, and that actually I feel like rolls over into the R, which is realistic. We can sell ourselves some dreams. Who sold a dream to themselves before? I have sold some dreams to myself. Even when I started at Ole Miss, I thought I wanted to be a math major. Why? Because, I was okay at math when I was in high school, but I didn't love math at all. And I found myself switching, I don't know if you heard, but Bachelor of Arts in social work, completely not a mathematician, is what I ended up with. But being realistic, and that means that you got to be in tune with who you are. You have to know what you're truly passionate about, what your areas of improvement are, your areas of strength. That's really, really key. So being realistic when you're setting your goals. And the last is a time frame. You don't want to set a goal and it doesn't have an end date to it. You'll never get there. You'll never get there. If it's, meeting a goal next month here in this environment, if it's, being the top employee for the next quarter, you know that you have 3 months, to work towards something. Making sure that you have those cutoff points. If you do not, you will not achieve it. And then you'll start to feel as though you're not getting anywhere. And you want to make sure that you're always moving forward and being aggressive and progressive in life. The importance of the SMART goal, again, is that it helps you to be able to state your future achievements. Being a visionary, being aggressive and intentional about how you're going to formulate your life. You are in control. There are some external things that are going to happen to us. There are those obstacles that are going to happen, but you are absolutely in control of what it is you want to do. Just going back to the example of me and Ole Miss. Left Ole Miss as a dud, came home, figured it out, came up with a good plan, started using this model so that I could, in 2015, graduate with my my Bachelor's of Arts. And even taking it a step farther. One important thing about the SMART model, it assists with, or it's more attractive with short-term goals. What's the best way to eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
Thank you, one bite at a time. And so using your SMART models, you do it on these short-term goals so that you can work towards the longer term. When you say I want to go get a degree, make the SMART model is I want to finish the first course that's required. Or if it's in this environment, I want to be the top seller next week. What can I do today in this moment to make my numbers climb, to meet the goals that the organization has defined? And taking it bit by bit. It builds confidence. It helps you understand your strength and know that you can obtain that long-term goal. And I think that's really, really important, because a lot of times we try to just jump off into the 12-foot end of the pool when we really need to kind of take the shallow part first and make our way in. So with that, because I don't want to take up a lot of time, I want you all to be able to take what I've shared about the SMART model, and we're going to move into the groups that have already been predefined. And this is going to be the section where you get to apply. You get to use your, I'll say, creativity. You get to sit as a team, because that's very important in this environment, and make sure that you're working together to come up with a SMART goal. And then you'll spend 15, 20 minutes. I'll walk around. If you got questions, I'll just be listening to the genius ideas that's happening, the teamwork that's going on. If you have anything for me, I want to answer. I want you all to also pour into me. And when you're done, each moderator from that group, I absolutely want to hear back from you. And I want the rest of the team to hear back from you. You'll find that this model is super easy to do. It just takes a little intentionality as far as moving into your goals. All right, with that, we're gonna take about 15 to 20 minutes. We'll set the timer. You all just go into your sections, your predefined groups, and we'll go from there.